Lisa back here with you today on the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing some stamping using the All My Love stamp set. I'm going to show you a way of stamping a couple of panels in one go, and we're going to be doing some Copic colouring. So I'm starting off with 2 panels of Nina Solar White £80 cardstock. And I've cut these down to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And you can see here I'm placing both of the panels into the MISTI. The top one goes firmly into the top left corner and the bottom panel butts up really tightly against that top panel. So I'm taking the image now from All My Love, absolutely gorgeous image, and I'm just going to move this around so that I'm happy with how much of the flowers I've got on each corner of each panel. So just putting the MISTI lid down there, checking that those panels are still in the right place. I'm going to add on my black ink. This is Memento Tuxedo black ink, and then stamp that down. And as always, I will repeat stamp just to make sure that I'm happy with the coverage. And once I'm happy with how that looks, I'm going to flip both of those panels around, leave the stamp in the door exactly where it was before, and re-ink it up again, and then I'm going to stamp down. So all I'm doing is a mirror image of exactly what I did before, and that's going to mean that both of my panels have exactly the same image in both corners. Before I flip my panels again to do the rest of the stamping, I need to clean my stamp off because I will need to realign it once I flip those panels around. So just making sure I've got an area clear for the next lot of stamping. It's really easy to do this. It's very visual. It's quite easy to work out where you need to go next with your stamping. So just taking that stamp again, moving it around a little bit, and then I'll just go through the same process and cover off the rest of the panels. So double stamping and flipping them around to do the final corner. And this is a really good way of creating multiple panels, and it works with lots of different stamp sets. So if you're someone that likes to colour on the go, you can quite easily stamp up several panels in one go and take those with you wherever you decide you're going to do your colouring. And here we have the 2 panels all stamped and ready to be coloured. Really didn't take me long at all to do these. So we're going to move on to the Copic colouring now. And I'm going to show you some of the leaves first. I've got 3 greens here, YG17, YG03 and YG01. I colour from dark to light. So I'm just going to start by putting a little bit down of my darkest colour. And then I go in with my mid-tone, which is YG03, and I just blend out those lines. So I pretty much do this on every bit of colouring. Occasionally I swap it round, but my kind of natural habit is to go from dark to light, and this particular combination I use a lot for leaves. So going in there with my YG01, which was my lightest green, and blending that out. And then I'm going to do the same on a few more leaves just so that you can see the process, and then I'll move on to some of the flowers. One of my panels is going to be purple, so I've got 4 purples here. But what I'm going to do now, instead of laying that darkest colour down, which is BV04, I'm actually going to start with BV13 and work my way down. So here I'm going in with the darkest of those 3. So this is BV13. I'm going to blend it out with some BV02, and then I'll blend out even further with my lightest tone, which is BV01. I'm keeping BV04, that's the darkest of the four colours, because I really want to use that sparingly, and that's something that I'm now adding in here just to add a little bit more definition to those petals. So again, I'm working through the BVs here. These are really small colouring areas, so sometimes I just use two purples, and I'm not prescriptive about which particular ones, but what I try and do is go in with that really dark shade BV04 just to see if I can make some of the sections stand out a little bit more. And I'm just going to show you a few more of these petals in the purple. So laying down the BV13, BV02 and BV01. I actually think my lightest possibly should have been BV00. They end up a little bit heavier than I wanted them to be, but I still really like the combination. I may change it up for next time. I've got the second panel in front of me now, and I'm going to move on to the pinks. So again, I'm going to mostly just use RV09 for accent at the end. So my three main colours will be RV06, RV04 and RV02. Again, going in with my darkest, blending that out with the mid-tone, and then coming in with the lightest tone. Now, a note on these Copics, RV04 and RV02 don't blend that well together, and I do have to go over them several times. So the RV02 is very, very much lighter than the RV04. And although I like the end result, it does mean I usually have to go over them a couple of times. So there I'm just adding in a little bit more of the mid-tone and then blending out with the lightest again, just to see if I can get a smoother finish. And here I'm adding in some of the RV09, which is an absolutely gorgeous colour, just putting it in those areas where my deepest shade is to try and give some kind of differentiation and definition to each of those petals. And because I end up adding several layers onto my colouring on the petals, just trying to get that blend to smooth out, it will end up darker. That doesn't worry me too much because I like vibrant colours, but it is something to be aware of. And I'm just adding in my darkest colour there just to deepen those parts where I want the most shade to show. And here are the two panels after I finished the colouring. It did take me a couple, well, probably about an hour and a half to do them, so not for the faint-hearted, but I did enjoy the process, and they're now ready for us to add our sentiments. For my first panel, I'm using a sentiment from Love Potion. This is a sentiment I thought was perfect for this card. It says, if friends were flowers, I would pick you. So at this point, I'm wishing I had stamped the sentiment onto the panel before I did the colouring, but I didn't think to do that. So I'm adding it on now, doing my best to make sure it's lined up straight and stamping that down with some VersaFine Clair Nocturne. And for the pink card, I'm going to use a sentiment from You Inspire Me. I thought that it fit really well into that little area there. So again, I'm going to stamp that with the same black pigment ink, desperately trying to make sure it's okay. And you can see I'm making it worse as I'm moving it around, and my head goes over the top there just to make sure it's okay. But thankfully it was all right and I didn't ruin my panels, but I really must remember for next time. As these cards are fairly simple, I'm going to pop them up with some foam tape onto a black card base. I thought that black would really make those colours pop, so I've added some foam tape on the back, and I'm just going to add some wet adhesive over that foam tape. That's going to allow me to place that panel down and move it around just to make sure that it's got an even edge around the outside. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same with the purple card. Just add on some adhesive onto the back. You can see my lid goes flying there. As soon as you put the camera on, everything goes wayward. Let me tell you, it doesn't happen normally, but once the camera goes on, you can bet it's going to do that. So just going to add on some sparkle now. This is the Crafty Meraki Sparkle Fairy Garden Mix, and it's absolutely beautiful. There's lots of sizes of these jewels, and they go with absolutely any colour. They are so pretty. And I've gone ahead and pre-placed these onto the panel because it takes me ages to work out where my embellishments are going to go. And even as I get to the end there, I still add on a few more. So you can see here I've added some more into the top right and to the bottom left. But you know, over blinging's a thing, isn't it? You can never have enough sparkles. So that brings us to the end of both of the cards. I hope that you'll give this technique a try and stamp up some panels. Take a look at the sets that you've got and see what will work. Many will work for this technique, so I hope you give it a try, and I will be back next week with another video for you. In the meantime, I hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye for now.